It very close, but unless something goes wrong, we are set to start at 10 p.m. sharp. Whether you are watching live or after the fact, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your attention regardless. We are less than 2 minutes out. In the meantime, for those of you watching live, enjoy the music of Otis McDonald, baby. Hey, guess who's on time for once? Holy crap. It's me again. How's everyone doing? Let me, as is customary for this stream. I abruptly stopped the music, but the song was ending anyway, so it was kind of smooth. There is one thing that I didn't have time to do, so I will do that just now. The cable management, I use this Velcro to strap the USB cord of my camera to the boom arm. Like, honestly, as far as preparing for the stream goes, I think tonight was virtually flawless. I did start at 10 p.m. Hey, Francois, glad you can make it. We should have a fun show tonight. I will actually, I'll disconnect this because I'm refloating. Yeah, we should have a fun show tonight. I don't know if we'll have time to play Stardew Valley. I really hope so. I was thinking we might, but I've done this stream long enough to know that with everything I have for tonight, we might not get to do that. Let me just take a sip of water. Okay. Before I start, I just want to point out there was something I mentioned last week. Was it last week? Hey, Breck. Wait. Expound, elucidate, and educate. I will take that as a compliment. That's what I try to do. However, there is a barrier that I don't think that I can overcome, but the skill in overcoming it is what I try to build here. So I appreciate the compliment. You will see that GIF a bit later as well. Yes, so I think it was last week where I covered the. What did I cover last week? It's, at some point, someone should like watch this stream and keep track of what I cover and when. Let me just open it up here. Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's the reason, because I called it chill stream, but I forget what the topics were, which I am getting right now. Yeah, exactly. I did cover Joe Rogan, which is why I am so surprised that I forgot to mention something that was in my show notes last week. And I will actually, speaking of notes, leave a note for myself. I was speaking about Joe Rogan last week, and I forgot to mention something that was very important to me. It was this might be potentially life changing, and I've shared it with a bunch of people in my network. And I just want to stress that Jewel was on Joe Rogan recently, and like I don't watch the Joe Rogan Experience unless the guest that is on is a conversation that I'm interested in watching. Like, oh, this person talking with Joe Rogan. Do I want to see that? That's how I decide which episodes I watch and which ones I don't. So, had I just seen Jewel in the guest lineup, I never would have watched it. However, it just so happens that a couple weeks ago, while watching Scott Adams, he happened to read a comment which mentioned how Jewel was on the Joe Rogan Experience and talked about the systems that she put in place to guide herself to to success, basically. And this was a while ago. I never got around to actually watching it until last week, I believe. And it was so good. I watched it at 2.6x, and then it was so good. I told myself, I have to watch this again and take notes, which I did over the rest of the week. I took like something like 2 or 3 pages worth of notes. That show I recommend it to anyone. Like just to give you an example, Jules' life path. Um, I'll skip the early childhood days, but she leaves her home at age 15. She's suicidal at 15. A couple years later, at 18, she ends up homeless. And from that, a couple years later, at age 21, she's selling millions of albums as a folk singer during the height of grunge. So whatever led to a path where you're suicidal at 15 and now you're a platinum record musician less than a decade later, there are some things that can be valuable to that. And holy shit, were there some, because the first step was to save herself from killing herself, right? And I took a whole bunch of notes, which I still haven't synthesized yet. But if there's one takeaway that I can give you now, a metaphor that Jewel uses a lot when she talks about anxiety and emotional pain and things like that. It's that you can't deal with these emotions if you're not present. And a metaphor she uses a lot is, you know, when you're anxious, which is like worrying about the future or looking at the past with regret, you're not present, right? And the metaphor she uses is it's like it's like protecting your house from burglars by leaving your house to go find burglars. And the house in this metaphor is the present moment. And a tool that she uses to help snap herself back to the present moment is what are my hands doing right now? That is a key question that I've been asking myself. As a matter of fact, on this desk, which I sit at dozens of hours a week, I've made myself this little sticky note here to remind myself to ask myself this question. And I gotta say, um, I'm reaching a point where I am consciously competent in the skill of at least snapping myself back into the present by asking myself what my hands are doing. That's just the beginning of the process. That won't heal itself. Like, just to give you an idea of the process, and it's happened a couple times over the last couple days where I'll feel anxious or regretful or something like that. And just that feeling triggers me to ask myself, what are my hands doing right now? And once I'm present to myself, the immediate follow-up question for me anyway is, do I feel stressed or do I feel relaxed? And once I have the answer to that question, I can kind of deal with it as best I can from there. But the point is, you can't protect your house from burglars if you're not in your house. So yeah, I just wanted to really stress how valuable that conversation is I was not expecting it. And I will link to it below, which is the note that I wrote myself. I've already spent a lot of time talking about it, but it's worth it. And yeah, I fucking love it. Um, the other thing, yes, mindfulness, basically, Breck. So the other thing I wanted to mention, it's funny too because I don't have that many things. Like some of the topics that I put for the as teaser for tonight's show, I don't have that much to say about it. And one of those things is the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, which has been underway for I think at least a couple days now. The only thing I have to say is this: I just hope that if you're watching someone's take on the Kyle Rittenhouse case and that person is not a lawyer, please take what that person says with a grain of salt. Like the only exception that I'll allow potentially is like if they're just reporting on what happened during the trial, that's another thing. And I'm assuming there are other kinds of biases that can affect that. But um, I know the ooh. Let me just fetch this. That's not how you spell prosecutor. Oh, look at this. I didn't even uh I didn't even finish writing it. Whoops. It, Rittenhouse prosecutor facepalm. That's exactly what I was like. Speaking of, if the person's not a lawyer, you shouldn't take what they say seriously. This person is a lawyer. He's trying to build a case beyond reasonable doubt. And anyway, it this is a great meme. I'm sure if it hasn't already happened yet, the memosphere will be taking this picture and having fun with it. I just want to remind you that as obvious as the case might seem to you, whether you think he's guilty or not, just try to remember that you're not a lawyer and the person you're watching on the internet likely isn't either, unless they are. So yeah, that is that is almost all I have to say about the Rittenhouse case. And speaking of our good friend confirmation bias here, uh, there was one thing that I would like to show here. This tweet, which was tweeted on November 4th, which was last week. So yeah, it has been going on for a while. So the FBI aerial surveillance shows never before seen actions before Kyle Rittenhouse shot three people. Um, and depending on your confirmation bias, if you're more to the extremes of the left right, the lefties are like, oh, this proves he's guilty, you stupid chud. This proves he's innocent, you stupid you stupid cuck. And here, this proves the FBI is constantly spying on us with drones. Now, to be charitable to the FBI, never thought I'd be saying that. It's kind of obvious to tell that, like, given the Kenosha shootings and protests and shit like that, it was pretty obvious that something might happen. So, of all the places, if you're gonna spy on an event with drones, that one would be a pretty decent event to choose. Anything else? Ooh, I just want to point out, technically this won't happen. This won't happen next week, but the timer to the countdown to competency now has 7 days left, which means at the end of next week's stream, I will have 20 hours of experience streaming with this setup, which is what that countdown is. If there was a way to include weeks, I wouldn't have had days, but yeah, I will be. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate yet, but it should be good times. And even though next week I will still be a noob, the week after, I will no longer be a noob. So there's that. Oh, and as a reminder of where that comes from, you only need 20 hours of experience to become competent at something from scratch. The whole 10,000 hours thing, which flies around a lot, that is true, or at least the evidence tends to support that that's true. However, that's to become world class at something. So among the best of the best all time. You don't need to do that to be competent at something, which is why the target of 20 hours is much less discouraging to look at, as a mountain. Let's see. I'm definitely in the oh my god drones crowd. Yeah, totally. I hear you, Frank. Bring it back to the body to not be stuck in your head. Yes, Darth Shady. Listen, the Jewel episode of Joe Rogan is over 3 hours long, and depending on the juice that you get from it, might not be worth the squeeze, considering that it's 3.5 hours of squeeze. However, for me, it was oh so worth it. Holy shit! And there, I'm looking back to events that happened over the weekend, and I was feeling anxious or regretful. Those were the two main triggers, and just feeling that tenseness, I immediately asked myself what my hands were doing, and was able to check in on myself and process it in real time. So yeah, whew, just for that, totally, totally worth it. All right, that is all for the intro. We shall. Oh, well, technically, I guess this is part of an intro. I guess. Let me just see if I can grab this. Do I still even have it? I hope so. Yeah, I probably deleted it. I clean up after myself digitally. All right, let's see. Actually, you know what? There's another way for me to find this, and I will. Wow. Let me just go here. I'm sure it's still here. I'll give you guys some music. Ooh, that's a little too bleak. All right, this one. There we go. That's a little better. Whoa, this is way too hot. There we go. Yeah, this is a pretty obvious thing that I missed in my prep for tonight. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, um, the topic that I want to cover really quick. Last week on Friday, well, for me, a monumental uh, panel on centrism happened. And for those of you who missed it, Layman, who invited me onto this panel, tweeted it a couple days ago or 2 days ago, yeah. And I gotta say, first of all, uh, I want to thank Layman for having me on. I had a total blast. Um, I am so glad that it happened. Uh, yeah, no matter what the fallout from it is for me personally, I'm really glad it happened for all sorts of reasons. Layman, I'm just assuming that you're going to see this eventually. So thank you again. And this will not be the last time we speak. I can tell you that no matter what happens. And there's one thing, though, that I want to point out. Again, I'll link to the panel below. It's roughly 2 hours long. And wait, sorry, I'm getting a warning from my YouTube stream thingy. Okay, sorry about that. Um, So yeah, like I was saying, it was a 2 hour conversation roughly, and something that preoccupied me for a little bit was the amount of time that I spent speaking compared to like other panelists. And I gotta say, even though it was something that I was beginning to get aware of after like the first 45 minutes ish, um, I gotta say, watching it back, compared to a lot of other people, I think there was a decent amount of time that I spent talking. And one thing that Eris, who was one of the panelists, said that I kind of missed it in real time was the concept that um, when you're a streamer, you kind of build the habit of being long-winded and making your sentences as long as possible. And when you're on a panel, it can be difficult to like get your point across in a very quick and concise way. And it's interesting because considering this format, um, my stream, the way I'm doing it right now, I'm the habit that I want to build is to be concise because I want the show to be an hour. I want to have time to play Stardew Valley, ideally. So the ideal scenario would be for me to be in and out and cover everything I want to cover in 40 minutes, and then have 20 minutes left at the end to play Stardew Valley. So the habits that I'm training myself in might be conducive to performing well on panels. So that is something that encourages me. Like when Eris was saying that, she said that like since the skills of being a streamer and the skills of being a panelist are kind of antithetical, she chose one skill and chose to focus on streaming, and that's why she doesn't do panels anymore. Um, but yeah, like I gotta say, if I had like a 4 hour stream that I did 3 times a week, that's a lot of content, and it's difficult for me to imagine filling that much time. But I can imagine how the incentive to make your sentences and your points to belabor them as much as you can get away with is a valuable skill when you're in that situation. Whereas for me, I kind of kick myself a little when it's 10:45 and I still haven't finished my last point because I know that I might not have time to play Stardew Valley. So yeah, it's really interesting. But as far as panels go, I guess it's just a matter of time. I don't want to force it. Networking is a interesting skill on its own, and I'm just glad that I got to speak in front of a large audience that I wouldn't be exposed to normally, even if it was like in short bits. There were some fun exchanges. Again, I'll link to it below, and that's about all I have to say. And again, like I'm on the right track. The fact that I was invited at all is a clue. Thank you, Layman, again. And I enjoy doing this. So do the right things long enough consistently, as someone who shall remain nameless once said. So that's it for that. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Wait, actually, yeah. Let me just blow my nose. All right. Let me prepare one thing. And actually, man, I am getting better at this. Great. So, yeah, being concise is a skill. Absolutely. Uh, Too bad I didn't notice that troll in real time, Dark Shady. Not the being concise is a skill, the one from before. The VOD people might know what that was. All right, let me prepare the thing that I wanted to. Couple more things. Where is it? It's here. Yep. That. Where's the timestamp? There. Ooh, perfect. All right. So let me unmute my. There we go. This is just a sound check. There we go. So I'm getting lost in my touch portal. Oh, there we go. I don't I reconfigured it, and sometimes I get lost in where the buttons are, buttons that have been there for a long time. All right, Aaron Rodgers. When I was promoting tonight's stream, I said that I would talk about Aaron Rodgers if I could figure out how to talk about it. And the sad news is I haven't. And I just want to say it is a really sad state of affairs where um, an event like Aaron Rodgers being interviewed by, I think it's Pat McAfee, Scott McAfee, McAfee, the punter, with a podcast. Rodgers. Getting lost in my touch portal, if you know what I mean. Just a moment. Yes, Pat McAfee. So it's a real shame that something like Aaron Rodgers appearing on the Pat McAfee podcast and talking about his experience leading up to his COVID diagnosis is something that I don't feel I can cover responsibly. Again, as a reminder, my position on vaccination is too nuanced for social media to handle, and especially one that is algorithmically surveilled. I'm just going to stay away from that. So I try to talk about the conversation around it. And that is quite the conversation. I got to say, another thing that is a sad state of affairs is how when I saw the things that Aaron Rodgers claimed on McAfee's podcast, my first reflex was to say, oh shit, is this on Odyssey? Because YouTube might take this down. And the funny thing is, even if you think that Aaron Rodgers is like some kind of conspiracy nut, anti-vax conspiracy nut, I don't think any of the actual things that he said in the podcast were that bad. It's kind of nuts that a conversation that is so tepid, frankly, made me think, oh shit, YouTube might take this down. It's kind of nuts. And I haven't figured out how to share the full depths of my impressions of that podcast. So I will stick it to this. And the timing of this is really funny to me for reasons I will elaborate on later. On one of the things that made me roll my eyes that Aaron Rodgers said is when he called himself a free thinker, and he brought the notion of doing your own research. And I gotta say, to the unvaccinated people who consider themselves freedom fighters, I totally get where you're coming from, okay? Believe me, I do. However, y'all are fucking cringe when you say that you should do your own research, okay? Because and I know I know personally how cringe they are because I have enough unvaccinated people in my network. Some of them actually are anti-vaxxers, so I understand where these people are coming from. Um, However, I also know that, and I've harped on this many times throughout the history of this stream, the notion that if it's something that is far, hey, Fred Préjean, how's it going? I know what the F stands for. Glad to see you. Um, it is, how can I say this? Doing your own research in the Google era is only going to lead to a well, not necessarily only, but the odds that you will come out of it believing something different than what you thought before are virtually nil. I don't think there are many people with the self-discipline to actually change their mind by doing enough research, especially in the age that we live. However, and here's where we're coming back to the funny timing. Part of what made me do, part of what made me, part of what made me realize the cringe-worthy nature of just saying to people, just do your own research, was from Scott Adams, a man that I mention so much on this stream. He has one of his own splash screens. Now, I was listening to his stream this morning, and he happened to explain the same phenomena in a way that I found interesting enough to share with y'all tonight. And I will play a short clip from this morning's stream. It is about 4 minutes. Now, before I play it, I will have to set it up because he, when he started setting up this whiteboard segment, he stopped to address someone in his chat, and I will start playing this after he resumes coming back to his whiteboard. So I just want to explain the premise that he is that he's going for. So on the topic of doing your own research, his position is if you're doing your own research with the intent of learning something new, then yes, you absolutely should. You should do as much of it as possible. That's almost a direct quote. But if it's a complicated issue and there are people on both sides of that issue, and there's money involved, then the results, the equation is, if an issue is really complicated and there's money involved, then the body of knowledge that is produced by this issue will be mostly fraud. Okay, so I will continue off after he was finished talking to the chatter. Let's watch.
All right. If you have a complicated topic and you add money to it, what will be the outcome, assuming it stays complicated every time? The outcome will be you're going to get mostly fraud. What would be an example of this? Let's take the finance industry. Is the finance industry a big, complicated thing?
Yeah. And by the way, the complicated issue plus money equals fraud is something that he's covered in his books. This is years old. This is part of the reason why I was using another skill throughout this crisis, which we will talk about later. Just let's continue.
Yes. And there's tons of money poured into it. Yes. Is it mostly fraud? Is the nation's finance system mostly fraud? I'm seeing yeses and nos. See, people say partially. Have I gone too far? Have I gone too far to say it's mostly fraud? It's mostly fraud.
Yeah.
It's mostly fraud. How many financial consultants are giving you unbiased advice that's good for you versus just
Commissions.
yeah, how many are giving you unbiased advice? None.
Commissions.
Because the business model of financial advisors is to make more money for financial advisors.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was alluding to. It's funny. Follow the money. How many financial advisors do you see saying follow the money? You know, follow the money. All right, let's continue.
So the financial advice business is completely corrupt. It's all fraud, right? If a financial advisor were honest, they couldn't charge you because there wouldn't be enough content. I tried to write a book on finance once, and when I realized the whole book could fit on one page, I couldn't write the book. Everything else is just fraud. The part that you need to know is like one page. That's it. Buy index funds, hold them, done. So then look at anything from climate change to whatever. Do you think that climate change, what percent of climate change, a big complicated topic with tons of money going into it, what percentage of that outcome do you think was fraud?
Climate change was, I think climate change was the example that he used in, I'm pretty sure it was in Loser Think. Oh, one thing before I continue, don't, actually, no, I will bring this nuance after we finish the clip. Let's watch.
Well, some would say the entire solar power industry is fraud. You know, that's more of an opinion than a fact. But the fraud would be that it can't really get us to where we need to, and the cells themselves are a big pollution problem, etc. It looks like the entire thing is just filled with fraud. I don't know what percentage. Now, look at the supply chain issue. Right? Big, complicated thing. If we throw a bunch of money at that, or let's say infrastructure, if we have a big, complicated thing like infrastructure and throw a bunch of money at it, or even the bill, let's say the infrastructure bill, do you think that's mostly fraud? There's plenty of it in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'll just make this point. Now, let's say you do your own research. You dig into this. What are you going to find? Do you think you're going to be able to sort out what the fraud is and what isn't? Maybe a little bit. But these big, complicated things are big and complicated for a reason. And part of the reason is it hides fraud. So when you go to do your research, you're going to be running into mostly bullshit. Because the fraudsters need you to hit a solid wall of bullshit because they're hiding behind it. Right? Food industry, another perfect example, right? So when you go to do your own research, you're going to hit that wall of bullshit that needs to exist so that the fraud can hide safely behind it. And you won't know if you hit a wall of bullshit or if you found the truth finally. You won't know because it's good bullshit.
And that's the clip. What I wanted to point out is don't necessarily be distracted by the pie wedge that's behind him, where like the mouth of Pac-Man is new knowledge and the actual body of Pac-Man is the fraud. Don't be distracted by the proportion of bullshit to truth. The point of the matter is that there is bullshit and truth in these kinds of things, and in order to do your own research and come up with, in order to do your own research on these issues, you need the ability to distinguish the bullshit from the fact, which, if it's a complicated field that's outside of your wheelhouse, you can't do it. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but you can't. I'm sure you think you are. I'm sure you think you can, and I'm sure that me telling you flat out that you can't distinguish the bullshit from the truth is making you believe even more firmly that you have figured it out. But I hopefully hearing Scott Adams say it in this slightly different way can be helpful to some, you know. That's part of the reason why throughout this pandemic, I've used the approach of risk management, which again I've harped on time and time again since the beginning of this stream. You know, if you can't detect, sorry, if you can't look at a study in a field that you know nothing about and tell if it's bullshit or not, you can at least look at the people talking about it and try to detect which ones are bullshitting you and which ones are not. And that's the approach that I've taken. And yeah, so hopefully, again, speaking of bullshitters, it's a real shame that the social media platforms on which most of these conversations take place cannot be trusted to moderate these conversations, which is why on a segment on Aaron Rodgers appearing on the Pat McAfee show, all I have to talk about is a clip from the Scott Adams stream from this morning. But yeah, Jesus Christ, such sadness to go around. But hopefully this was valuable to some of y'all. If you like this video, you will probably enjoy this one right here. Please click on the card to watch the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Hey, that went better than expected. F. Préjean, at this point, what's not fraud? Hey, the answer to that, Larry S. Go Packers. Yes. The Packers is one of the few teams that I was a fan of back when I was a football fan. Oh boy. Yeah, we're definitely not playing Stardew Valley tonight. Let me see here. Okay. Man. Yeah, I don't. This is another topic that I used to announce the show that I don't have that much to say about. Why do you think Destiny is so hard on Scott? Probably because he has good things to say about Donald Trump, Breck. I'm pretty sure that's the crux of it. All right. So actually, wait. Before I do that, oh, abort. Let me just. There's probably a wiki on this. There we go. Okay, so it was Friday. That's all I wanted to see. Hey, member 666. So, as most of you know, on Friday, there was a tragedy at the Astroworld Festival in Houston, where 8 people died and 300 people were injured. Those are the numbers that I have at this point. If it's been updated, I'm not aware of this. This is still a breaking story, which is why, one of the many reasons why I don't have that much to say about it. A theme that that comes up again and again on this stream is how it's virtually impossible to cover breaking news in a way that's responsible without constantly saying, this is breaking news, we don't have all the facts, etc., etc. And honestly, it is like, given what I do know, or at least the facts that I think I know, that I've had access to, it's pretty clear that, to me anyway, that there's going to be some kind of criminal negligence or something like that that took place, at the very least, to the organizers of the event. I don't know about Travis Scott himself, although, you know, there are all sorts of videos that have been circulating from the event. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of them. If you haven't, hey, good for you too. I wouldn't necessarily want to submit myself to that either. However, there was one of the videos of, you know, the crowd chanting, "Stop the show, stop the show." Man, I don't know if you've ever done a live show. Even though the camera that was filming that video could clearly see the crowd chanting, it could clearly hear the crowd chanting that, it doesn't necessarily follow that Travis could. However, there are still some things that he undeniably or obviously clearly did see that make it inexplicable that he didn't stop the show when he saw those things, you know, like emergency lights in your crowd, or someone apparently crowd surfing but who isn't responding at all, so is probably unconscious, that kind of stuff. However, of the videos that I wanted to cover, there is one in particular that I want to focus on, because from my personal background, I could empathize with everyone in this video. So let's watch it before. It's only 37 seconds long. There's no gore or anything in it. But let's watch as these fans try to alert the cameraman that there are dead people in the audience. Just want to show you this.
If that's okay with you, real quick. Take me, let's do it. Just bring your girl, feel like she profile. Your black nigga work at the ocean. So far we here, just on the ocean. I'm just one day away from going to leave. I'm just one angel away from running down the devil. Just one my...
All right. So here's the thing. Oh, I want to put some caveats here because to the uncharitable eye, it might look like I'm defending the cameraman. I am not. I just want to make two things crystal clear, okay? If that guy, because I could see the microphone in his headset, okay? He could speak to someone. If that camera guy didn't communicate that there are dead people in the audience, or at least someone's telling him there are dead people in the audience, if he heard that and he didn't communicate that to the production crew that he was communicating with, what the fuck, dude? Wow. Like, why? Holy shit. Okay? Crystal clear. Second of all, if he did communicate it and the production crew chose to like not do anything and not pass that along to someone who could actually do something about it, then again, what the fuck? This is unfathomable to me, okay? In no way am I defending the fact that assuming this camera guy was in a position to pass this information along, that he didn't, okay? Between these fans saying that there are dead people in the crowd, whatever link in the chain between these fans and someone who could actually stop the show, whatever link broke, fuck that person, okay? Really clear. Now that these caveats are out of the way, the reason that this resonated with me so much is because, as I've mentioned before on this stream, I've done, I was involved with the improv community. And one of the things that I did for them is tech. So I was the lights and sound guy. I've been the lights and sound guy for many, many, many improv shows. I was really good at it, honestly. My goal was to become one of the best. Anyway, the theaters that I've done lights and sound for, they had like these tiny little booths, okay? And whenever how can I say this? When I was teching, that tech booth is my kingdom, okay? And if you're coming into my tech booth, you better be part of the show or one of the performers or something. And I would know because, people involved in the production of the show are there ahead of time, okay? So I can't even think of a time where some random audience member walked into my tech booth. However, and let's see if I can skip to, yeah, here. The guy's knee-jerk reaction of, hey, you got to get out of here. I 1,000,000% understand it. Like, it's, I'm hoping that, what I'm hoping is that this guy wasn't so triggered that he couldn't even process the fact that these fans were telling him that there are dead people in the audience. However, having been in a situation similar to his, that platform that he was on is his tech booth, and some random audience member is climbing into your booth. For sure, his first reflex is going to be, "What are you doing here? Get out of here." So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Now, my experience cannot be relatable to his because, as the lights and sound guy, you could literally stop the show with a push of a button when you're doing lights and sound, right? Speaking of which, I don't know where the lights and sound guy for this show is. And, I'm hoping that there was someone in the audience savvy enough to try to reach him to put a stop to this, because Travis wasn't going to do it. That's for sure. So yeah, like, even putting myself in that situation, let's say that I was doing lights and sound for a show and someone comes into my booth to say there are dead people in the audience. And this is part of why I can relate and I can also not relate. The way I would probably process that is, thank you for telling me. I'll let people know. And I have the advantage that I have a little mic that I could use to speak to the entire room. So I could make that announcement, right? So my reaction would probably be, thank you for telling me. I will make an announcement right now. Now, please leave my booth. Okay. Again, that is like the first time that I saw this video. I was, you can't really relate when something tragic like this happens. You kind of try to fit it into your life experience as best you can, if there's something even remotely close to that, right? So that's why when I saw this video for the first time, and I saw that as soon as this cameraman realized that there were people on his platform, that his first reflex was to shoo him away. I was like, well, of course he's going to do that. So yeah, and obviously, no matter which link in the chain broke, to which the show was somehow allowed to continue, I forgot how I was going to end that sentence. So listen, I'm just going to wrap this up by saying, how could this have happened? What a tragedy. My heart goes out to everyone who's affected. And I'm speechless. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching. Yeah, that's about as good as I have. Again, it's my stream. That was what resonated with me. what a mess. And I hope that we get to the bottom of this, because holy shit. Now, I have a couple lighter topics to wrap up the stream. We'll be talking about some Twitter memes. Let me just prepare this. Yeah. If Prejean left, I missed it. Well, I saw it, but boy, this, whenever you see me do this in silence, like, that's me getting lost in my touch portal, if you know what I mean. Okay. What was I gonna do? I was gonna put some music on. Oh boy. Great. So what made me say "oh boy" just now as I was preparing? It's shall be clear in a second. Let me just. All right, let's lighten the mood and talk about Twitter. As I was getting ready for this show, this happened. I was, scrolling through Twitter as one does, and I noticed this tweet from Pfizer. It's easy to get distracted by misinformation these days, but don't worry, science has got your back. And they misuse this meme here of wild conspiracy theories and science coming from behind. How, like, to anyone familiar with the memosphere, to beyond a certain threshold, the mistake is immediately obvious to you, okay? But for those of you who aren't, let me enlighten you. This pink guy is getting ready to fuck him up the ass. The point of this meme is that whatever you're letting go of, this is worse. And they completely misused it. So just to give you the creepy science hug. Yeah, actually, it might not necessarily be anal sex that is about to happen, but it's definitely creepy. Holy shit, there's a drop of sweat on this guy. They could have at least removed that, but I don't think the person who thought this tweet was a good idea. And why? What's the value add to this? Anyway, this is funny, and the Twitter account Libs of TikTok said, post your version of the meme with a blank template here. And I gotta say, in a strike of genius, this is one of the tweets that I'm proudest of in a long time. Yes, the meme misuse is hilarious, which I illustrated, frankly, perfectly, okay? Take a look at this gem right here. So Pfizer sends this tweet out thinking it's a good thing, but lo and behold, the Twitter meme lords have your back. Yeah, I am extremely proud of this, and I'm happy that it is. Ooh, it's catching on. Nice. Jesus Christ. If I was Here's the thing. Actually, let me do this in real time, which is why I didn't prepare this. There is, if you're going to use a meme, there is a resource that has been available for a while now called Know Your Meme. I have been at risk of misusing a meme many times before, and I would go on Know Your Meme and find it and realize, oh, that's not how that meme is used at all, and I wouldn't do it, or I'd find another format or something. Now, obviously, to people who don't meme, the knowyourmeme.com isn't it's not a reflex to go check there. And what I want to do in defense of the Pfizer social media manager here, some memes are hard to find even if you have a picture, and you to describe what the meme is really hard. Like, just as an example, there is a meme format of some guy standing at a kitchen table with his mouth wide open like this, and then some chick puts like a fistful of hot dogs in his mouth. I've tried so hard to find a blank meme template, but I can't find it. Like, if you Google, open mouth hot dog or whatever, you'll get so many false positives. I have not managed to find this meme. But in Pfizer's defense, I will try to find this meme template. So let us go back here. And yeah, I'm so proud of this. Y'all have no idea. I'm really glad it caught on because I don't have that many Twitter followers. So this is a hit for me. All right, let's try and find this meme. Fall release hug meme. Boom. Wow, how hard was this? Wait. Okay, let me just vet what's on Know Your Meme. It worries me that dick flattening is here, but y'all just saw how easy it is to find. But let me just make sure of something here. Okay. Well, the good news is the dick flattening link was safe for work, but there we go. So, like, honestly, whoops. Oh, let me just stop the videos here. Like, I'm not gonna read this, but the entry exists. It was the second result when I searched for it, and had this person actually. Let's see here. Well, the original one was he's letting go of a ball titled Opportunities, and shyness comes and hugs him from behind, So there's that. This is shit. My stream is frozen, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Y'all can still hear me? Can you still hear me? There we go. Hopefully the recording is salvageable, but sorry for that. I knew I was in trouble as soon as a video started playing, but hey, them's the breaks. So the point is, I can't understand the what's the risk reward calculation? That's my question. How what was Pfizer trying to get out of this? I mean, their product is basically mandatory. What more can you get after your product is made mandatory by law in some places? What more can you get? I don't know. Anyway, speaking of misuses of Twitter and uses of Twitter, actually, I'm gonna flow into what was going to be the next segment. Give me a second to prepare here. Yeah, that'll do. All right, we're gonna keep going. Speaking of poor and wait. Speaking of good and bad use of Twitter, I heard of this story today, but last week, I believe that's when it happened. Republican Representative Paul Gosar tweeted some video. Basically, it was the intro to Attack on Titan, and the Titans were Democrats, and the people who slayed Titans were like Republicans. There was him, there was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and things like that. So this frame here where he's killing a Titan with AOC's face on it. First of all, I will not play the video, but I will link to it below. But this spawned a lot of controversy, and I just want to yet again give props for what to me is an amazing response by AOC right here, which I will read. I know some people in my audience hate it when I praise AOC, but you know, you got to give props when they're due. And this is the reason I find this response amazing has nothing to do with the truth value of anything that she says, okay? This is all about optics, as far as my interpretation of it, okay? I can't read her mind, neither can you. We are not telepaths, okay? I just want to remind you, please don't try to divine what AOC was thinking when she tweeted this. But let's read this. So while I was en route to Glasgow, a creepy member I work with, who fundraises for neo-Nazi groups, I don't know if this is true or not, but let's continue, shared a fantasy video of him killing me. He'll face no consequences because GOC leader cheers him on with excuses. Fun Monday. Well, back to work because institutions don't protect women of color. This is, you know, the high ground maneuver. Well, actually, the whole being above it all is kind of what she's going for here. And I think as uncharitable as this part is here, which we'll circle back to, I really like the angle that she's going with. There are a couple others here. Remember when Yoho accosted me on the Capitol and called me a fucking bitch? Remember when Green ran after me a few months ago screaming and reaching? Remember when she stalked my office the first time with insurrectionists and people locked inside? All at my job and nothing ever happens. Anyway, back to business. This part here, this is why I read this whole thread. This dude, this dude is just a collection of wet toothpicks. Oh, jeez. God damn. That, like, it's not a brand a la Trump, but as far as insulting your political opponents go, it's in the same ballpark as Trump insults, you know, maybe not like on home plate, but it's somewhere in that field. This is so great. Conveys weakness. It's visual. Wow. I'll continue reading the tweet anyway. White supremacy is for extremely fragile people and sad men like him, whose self-concept relies on the myth that he was born superior because deep down he knows he couldn't open a pickle jar or read a whole book by himself. So the rest of this tweet isn't as good as this here. He's just a collection of wet toothpicks. Holy shit. I just want to give her props, and this is part of the reason why I keep calling AOC the Donald Trump of the left. It never has anything to do with their values. It has everything to do with how they use social media to advance their goals. And honestly, I did see the video. Again, I will link to it below. I don't think it was that bad, honestly. I don't think it was that bad, but it was definitely cringe. This is kind of like the Pfizer people of before. There's no way that that Paul Gosar watches Attack on Titan. I haven't watched Attack on Titan, so the notion that he kind of just took some anime that he has no idea what it's about, or at least someone in his fan base made that video, and when he saw it, that's what I'm assuming happened. That he saw it and he retweeted it because he thought it was cool, you know? And yeah, it was cringe, but the notion of that it's a fantasy video of him killing AOC is kind of nuts. I'm reminded of the viral video of Trump clotheslining someone with a CNN head, and CNN was so butthurt about it, they doxed someone and threatened. Well, they doxed him and threatened to drop the dox before I. This happened a long time ago. This happened so long ago, I covered it, and I was in my living room when that happened. She's not coming up with those analogies herself. People feed it to her. Maybe not. It's a safe assumption to think that she has a team around her that helps her do this stuff. But the result is the same. I mean, the CEO of a company doesn't do everything themselves. If you have a good team around you, as far as this kind of thing is considered, that counts as far as I'm concerned. So I think your point is fair, but I don't think it matters that much. I can't think of a better word to describe it. So I think this is a good note to end on. If you enjoyed this video, you will definitely enjoy this one right here. Please tap on the card right here to watch it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. Hey, only 10 minutes past the hour. Let me just catch up with my chat and we will wrap it up for this week. Man, this stream went a lot better than I thought it would. Actually starting it was virtually flawless, but the segments that I had, they were kind of a mishmash in my head. So it turned out better than I thought. Most people don't realize she has a team. Yeah, I know. What's his name? Saikat Chakrabarti. Hey, later, Breck. I don't think Saikat Chakrabarti plays an active role in her cabinet, but he, from what I've heard, he did play a vital role in her rise to power in the first place. And again, I can't ever take this away from AOC. She is the first person I've ever seen do an Instagram live. I've said this on stream before. And when I say Instagram live, I don't mean some staffer holding the phone while she gives a stump speech. I mean phone in your face, in your kitchen, talking with your chat. I'd never seen a politician do that before her, which is a sign that whether she came up with that idea herself or was fed that from someone in her team, she gets it. And yeah, it's great. Holy shit, Donald Trump hasn't done like live streams with this phone in his face, and he's probably one of the most successful political tweeters of all time. So yeah, on that note, I think that will wrap things up. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I don't know what else to add. I love you all. Thank you so much. I will see you soon. Oh, wait. If you want a critique on your panel performance, let me know. Pretty bold of me. Hey, write it up. And if it's not too long, I'll read it. Thanks for offering, Breck. All right. On that note, I'll see you soon.